What up, JT? Hello again. Ashita, what's up? How am I? I am very good. How about yourself? I had a I took a day off from doing anything. I got a little drunk for my father-in-law's birthday. I shouldn't say a little drunk. I was pretty fucked up. What's up, Joy? How's it going, Jake? What's up, my slime? What's up, brother from another mother? Yeah, I got buzz. I'm on my Neville shit. You know, how to get a little tipsy on the weekend. Welcome back. Thank you, Mystical. Mystical, I love it. You're always here. I thought your name said simp for a second. I was like, bro, that's a crazy username. What up, Simo? Come to Came to get some inspiration. It was a tough day here. Manifesting my lover is feeling impossible at the moment, but I'm mostly frustrated of not being able to change myself. Yeah, I feel that, Simo. And the thing is, though, brother, is like, who's telling you that? What is it in you that's telling you that you're not changing yourself? Right? It's the little I, which means that it's untrue because, as Neville says, you are who it is that you desire to be. So there's nothing to do. You just release it. I'm gonna come on the video on this because I really love this analogy. It came to me when I was talking to a buddy the other day. The equivalent of us wanting to be our desire is like a frog that sees itself as a pine tree, but it's affirming that it's a frog. That's what people are doing in manifestation all the time, is like they're seeing themselves, their identity is something different, but who they actually are is what it is that they want or what they desire. The reason why they desire it is to recognize that they are it. It's so custom to you, it's made for you, it's implying that it is you. And so you just accept it, right? So you don't do anything to accept that you are this way. A frog doesn't need to affirm that it's a frog or need to do anything to recognize it as a frog. It just needs to drop the identity of it being a pine tree. I love that fucking analogy because it's so true. It's literally what it is. So it's only in mind are you saying that you're not there yet, because you are there. You are it. You just have to release a little eye suggesting that you need to do something. Alexander, what's up? Squirrel, what's up, Squirrel? Mercury retrograde. Yeah. Yep. Liz, what's up? Hi, Alexander. Let's W channel. Thanks to one. I appreciate you. You are the one, bro. I can't tell actually. I can't see the emblem, but if you're a girl, I'm sorry. Little eyes a bitch all day, yapping in my head. You messed up, bro. You lost her. She will never be with you. Here, take the third party name in front of you. I want to shut this up. Yeah, the thing is though, is that like it's just what it does. And so you being consciousness got to do what you do, which is deny the evidence of the senses and recognize or acknowledge that you already are who you want to be. Please help me. My SP has been so distant and mean he won't come around and say he doesn't care anymore. He is kind of bullying me about money. Can you help? Yes, I sure can, Bonnie. Everything that you just suggested to me is something that you're holding in your consciousness. Release that. Release identifying with what it is that you just told me here in this message. Push that out of your consciousness and your SP will lovingly rearrange. Mystical, how do you feel about me just repeating my story all day from the end? I want. Will this block it or is this okay too? If you want to, brother. I mean, the thing is, Mystical, is that you already are it. Is in the example that I gave, it sounds funny, but it really is true. Is like you are who you desire to be. You're just holding on to an identity of being otherwise. And so you don't change who you are. You recognize who you are, and that makes you manifest from who you are. So there's nothing for you to change because you are it. As Neville says, you are who it is that you desire to be. So then I just let go of the reason, the identity that's untrue. I release it, I let go. And then you will acknowledge that you then are what you desire to be. Technology isn't working very well. Mine's actually work today. I'm a powerful manifester. Also, do we have to feel being the identity, or is it just saying it from the who we want to be enough? Yeah, it's just, bro, it's literally just recognizing that you are it. Like you don't even need to do anything. Because if it's in the example I gave where I'm saying, hey, you're a frog who identifies as a pine tree, affirming that you're a frog. Do you need to do anything? Or do you need to just let go of the identity that you're not a pine tree? And then you'll recognize yourself as being a frog. Same thing with the desire. Right? If you let go of the identity that it's not that way, or you don't have it, well, what are you left with? That you are it. You've always been it. You just couldn't see it because you're identified with untrue beliefs that suggested otherwise. Hey, Joseph, what up, Jonathan? I had what was a couple good weeks with SP progress. However, old stories, unideal versions appeared again, and I spiraled. How do I make the new story more believable than old? You don't need to do anything, Jonathan. You just don't want to identify with the old story. Everything else will automatically work out for you. Yes, of course, but there are more issues during Mercury retrograde. Yeah. Squirrel, I love your energy, bro. I love your energy a lot. Tips on getting in the flow, no desires, just pure flow. How does it feel? Um, well, for me, it's usually very blissful. I feel very content. I observe myself behaving the way that I want to. I behave myself talking the way that I want to, taking action the way that I want to. My decisions aren't based upon fear or particular outcome. Everything I love kind of just flows to me. Everything appears to be in harmony with me. Tips. Best tips I can recommend is just well, there's several opportunities. Anytime that your mind starts overthinking, that's an opportunity for you to be in flow because you can recognize that you're the awareness and not the thoughts. Or when an emotion comes up, this is a beautiful opportunity for you to be in flow because you can recognize that you're the awareness and not the emotion. And so when you sit there as the awareness and observe the energy emotion, this will put you into the state of flow. You can do conscious breaths. You can pay attention to space in the room. You can pay attention to silence. Doesn't make sense to the mind, but when you pay attention to silence, it'll make you present because silence is not a thing. And so your mind will stop thinking. That's exactly how I feel when I'm in flow, void state. Yep. Yeah, you'll find it's a universal thing. It really is a universal thing. But what you'll also find is that you're automatically going to be the way that you want to be. You're automatically going to be in the state of being because your state of being is what manifests, not sentences that you tell yourself. Sentences that you tell yourself are not who you're being. Oftentimes, when I was telling myself I'm this or I'm this, that statement was contradicting my state of being. Um, but when I change my state of being, the statements that I say to myself will automatically change. My affirmations will change, my perspective will change. And share more experiences. The core desire of marriage is still there, but it feels like it's evolving or expanding. Why does that happen? Is it natural for our desires to keep growing or shifting? Yeah, you'll find that when you're in flow, your desires are more pure. And here's the reason why. Okay. So I'm going to use an experience that I trust most of you have had. So many of you have been in a relationship with a person, maybe obviously probably not this SP, but a past SP. And you knew in your being that this person wasn't right for you. You knew you knew undoubtedly. However, your mind told you, well, this person's nice. Well, they do this. I really like how they do this. Well, they're sweet. I like their parents. And there was justifications. So there was confusion. Well, why? Because your mind was telling you one thing and who you are was telling you something different. So it's confusion. But if you release the mind stuff, well, then what are you left with? Clarity, being true to yourself, what you actually desire. Because what you actually desired in that was to be in a different relationship. But we weren't able to see that because the mind was causing confusion and overthinking because it was suggest why I don't want to be behind that was why I don't want to be single. I don't want to have to go and talk to random people. I like the comfort of this and I like the comfort of that. And so there was justification. So it made what the actual desire was very confusing. Well, when you don't identify with the mind anymore, you don't base it upon what your mind's telling you, and you do it based upon what you feel, what aligns with you, well, then what you love flows to you. And it's very clear. There's no confusion because the mind isn't suggesting something different than what you feel in your being you love to be or you'd love to have. So yes, your desires will become purified. I can't tell you how many people that have been practicing flow that I'm around that I observe as they go, I didn't even know that I love this, or I didn't know that I love this. And I had so many breakthroughs and this came through and I loved it and etc. It's just part of being in flow. It gets rid of confusion. What you actually love and what you actually desire flows to you. It's not dictated by fears or I don't know if I'll be able to find someone better or any of these other untrue thoughts. Hey, I got contact from my SP after a year and was so excited, but now nothing. Trying to just live in the end. Hey, congrats, Janet. I can't tell you how many people that practice flow that happens for. It's just such a regular occurrence where what they love flows to them. And then what I observe also people telling me is that the moment that the person comes back, they go from making flow a priority to all of a sudden it's going back to getting the outside thing again. So go back to what you were doing, which was just being as you were, being in flow because then your SP will flow to you. And it's a secondary thing because realistically, look at it like this: your state of being colors your life. When you feel when you're in flow, when you're enjoying life, you are content with life as it is. You're experiencing bliss, you're experiencing love. You are the flavor of life. You add value to everything. You are the magic, not the experience. Now, oftentimes the experience will reflect back to you that you are the magic by appearances of harmony, by appearances of lovely relationships, of monetary gain, things like this. But they're just symbols of who you're being. The real treat is you. So when you're in flow, you don't need a particular thing. You don't need a particular outcome because since your bliss and your love and your contentment, everywhere you go, you experience that. So then there's no preference of what experience you have because you are the magic. I'm going to make a YouTube video on that. I don't have my phone. I love that though. So true. And you are the magic. You're what adds to life. You give life life. You give life flavor. And then you affect life or the appearances of life by who you're being. So the moment that we'll get SP back, though, we'll start going back into SP's doing this, SP's doing that, SP, and then we're imagining based upon what our senses are suggesting, which chances are it's based upon past beliefs of what we thought about SP or our relationship to relationships. So we have to go back to what did we do? We were just being as we were. We were in flow. We were experiencing bliss. We were experiencing happiness. There was no need for anything to be any different because, again, we were already in the flavor of life that we needed. We were the magic that we were looking for. And then SP flows back. It's a nice little cherry on top. The moment that we get out of flow, then it goes back to the SP is the cake and we're the cherry. It's backwards. Yes, it's sure you find yourself being who you want to be. I bet this flow state is what religious books are already when they say when you follow the way of God, everything. Yep. Seek first the kingdom of heaven. It's flow. It's being. I'm in Ryan mode. I choose this woman. Will marry her. It doesn't matter how long it takes to happen. Yeah, that's the mindset I had. Also, there's something about that. Is that when there's no other options besides you to be just the way that you desire to be, you make it happen. Right? You see that with successful people when they burn all bridges. There's no options of going back because they're fully committing to that being that way of being. I manifested the mirror, only thought about the mirror once, and my friend said, not yet, first job. So I dropped it and focused on my day. Days later, I drove past the mirror directly for free. Yeah, it's like clockwork. I can't tell you how often I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if that happened, or it'd be cool if my wife did that. And then 20 minutes later, she does it, or 30 minutes later, someone gives me something. It just happens like clockwork. Everything you love just flows to you. It's literally not a cool concept or a little catchphrase. It's true. Bro, I was just thinking about you literally 2 minutes ago, and boom, I get a notification on my phone that you're on. Love the law. Yep. Someone placed on the street. It's bliss. That is bliss. That is a symbol of who you're being. What do you guys think I should do a video on next? I'm trying to think. I'm kinda enjoying the collaborations, to be honest. I love the collaborations. I tried reaching out to Missy Renee, I believe that's her name. She never responded back, so that's not gonna work. I know a lot of people wanted to, collab with her. She has already responded? Yeah, the funny thing I was thinking about is, like, I didn't actually, like, really desire to do it, I think, like, kinda reflecting back because I don't know too much about her. So that's what I'm assuming why it didn't end up flowing is because of that reason. It was a lot of people wanted to see it, but I don't know that I particularly was, like, desiring to do a call with her. Yes, but only when you don't give a shit, then it's easy. Yeah. What does it mean when you see your SP's name all the time? Is that any significance? Uh, if you wanted to mean that, sure. I mean, fundamentally, it's all about the meaning that you give every experience that you have, right? So, yeah, it's up to you. I mean, but my perspective is like when I was manifesting my wife, it wasn't about that. It was just all about living for my inner world. I was already in a loving relationship. But if you find that it's beneficial for you, then absolutely do it. A video on not imagining to the contrary. Hmm, I like that. I like that. That's actually a really, really good idea. That literally is the key to this whole manifestation thing. Do a video with Cosme. She's up for it. That might not be a bad idea. I'll have to write these ideas down. I don't have my phone because the little one's here. Although my wife should be home in a minute, so I'll have my phone back. I could also do a video on, like, how much I dislike cats too. I think that's probably a pretty good video that I could do. Hey, could you explain detachment and the void people feel along with that and how to stay on the positive side? Hey, could you explain detachment and the void people feel along with that and how to stay on the positive state? Yeah, you just Serena, you just be in flow, right? Like that's the I'd watch my other lives. I have a bunch of them now. I've been doing it pretty consistently for the last couple of months, and I talk about the void state pretty often. And when you're in the void state, you detach effortlessly. It's you don't anything you're anytime you're doing anything by force, it's not correct. It's going to cause failure, right? Neville talks about this too. Is forcing causes failure. It's just a misunderstanding of the law. Because force implies that you don't have it or you need to make it happen, which are both untrue. Um, I reference the statement, "You are who it is that you desire to be," because that's the truth. That's the whole thing behind manifestation. You are it. You are it. And so, why would you like, it just doesn't make logical sense on any level. So you can't force it. So we don't force detachment. We don't force affirming. We don't force convincing ourselves. We don't force any of these things. We simply just acknowledge that we are. It's a surrender. It's an allowance. It's a remembering that we are the way we desire to be. That's it. That's all it is. There's no force at all involved in this. Hey Joseph, should we focus more on upcoming being stillness? On becoming being stillness, no thought as opposed to visualizing trying to change beliefs? Hey, Drew, you don't need to change beliefs, right? You just need to release identification on true beliefs because all you are is consciousness, your awareness. You are that which transcends the emotions in the body. You are that which transcends the thoughts in the mind. You are that which transcends the appearances of the senses. You are consciousness. So that's who you are, right? Like all this other stuff is it's created by the mind. It's something that you, who you are, chooses to say this is who I am. But it's not actually true of who you are, or rather, it's not the root of who you are. Otherwise, it couldn't change because who you are can't change. The I amness cannot change. It will never change. It has been the awareness since the beginning of the time. It's the awareness now. And it'll be the awareness for uh, infinity years, and it will not change because it doesn't change. It's I am. And so you don't change who you are, right? Like you just change what it is that you relate your I am to. So when you're having these thoughts saying, "Oh, I'm not good at this," you don't identify with this. You have thoughts saying, "I'm not there yet," you don't identify with this. You have these thoughts saying that I have beliefs that I can't get rid of, you don't identify with this. You have thoughts that suggest that you're other than you desire to be, you don't identify with this. You have thoughts suggesting based upon appearances, you don't identify with this. You identify as the awareness. And then you'll notice when you identify as the awareness, what will naturally flow once you release it onto your belief is that you'll start being the way that you desire to be. A desire is literally, it is a remembrance of who you are. That's why it's so specific and so intimate to you because it is you. So you just accept it. That's why Neville says, the moment desire comes to me, I simply accept it. Why? Because he is it. That's why he desires it. It's his. It's personal to him. It's intimate for him. He loves it. It's his. It's the same about your desires. And so you just accept them. Shut it. I'm assuming that's due to the cat thing, which the cat thing made me very happy. Remember, it always comes when you forget about it. You stop putting what you want on the pedestal and you win. Yeah. You love cats. They're on your mind every time I talk to you. They are on my mind every time I talk to you. Yes, that's your favorite subject. However, how I feel about cats still remains the same. What up, Lucas? How's it going, brother? Brian, what's up, bro? You are the magic. Love this so much. This is literally nothing outside of you. Yep. It's facts. Why, hey, Lucas. The fuck? Hi, Joseph. Yesterday, I ended up driving behind my SP. I noticed I'm getting a lot better at not allowing myself to overthink it. Instead, turn it into a bridge of instances and turn it into positive. That's awesome. I did. Bully Tina. What the fuck is happening in the chat? What can I do to stay in the Sabbath state? Continue to recognize that you have it and you are it. It's literally it. I should have turned the camera and had my wife on. Like, maybe if I would have just like, no, that's forcing. That's forcing. Serena, thank you. You're welcome. How do you suggest to work on self concept? I'm fully finding anything that resonates with me. Just going and affirming I am always chosen doesn't really do it. Yeah, Simo, just go beyond that. Go beyond that which is aware that you're suggesting to yourself that you're chosen. What is it that's observing that there's thoughts in your head? Be aware of that. Once you're there, you will automatically think ideal, imagine ideal, feel ideal, your concept will change. Hi, Joseph. Can't decide if I want to continue trying to manifest my SP for over a year. Recently wished her on her B day after 8 months no contact and suggested catching up. She told she had moved on. Split spirit right now. No one had hand. My self concept is good, so it can't handle the hurt, lack, or reception. On the other hand, that means all my effort was for nothing. Um. So now there's a couple things here. So number one, that's just appearances that you're having. So it doesn't matter because um, everything's happening within your mind, right? So all you got to do is change yourself and disidentify from any appearances that are happening to you. Secondly, I'm curious is what are you doing within yourself, right? Like what have you been conscious of? What have you been imagining is another thing to kind of reflect on. Yeah. Talking about cats for a moment, was thinking of getting my cat a friend, another cat. Later, that random ass lady showed up in my door with 2 kittens. Oh god. I'm so sorry about that, Liz. I'll be sending prayers your way for the kittens. I'm just kidding, I like kittens. Kittens are cute. I like kittens, but then once they become cats, I don't like them anymore. It's a weird thing. I bully those I love, hence the Bully Tina nickname from Luke's friend, hence the onslaught of cat content from me in your inbox. Oh my god, I love that, Liz. You know, kittens are cool. Kittens are cool. Had a strong belief that she loved and missed me too through the separation, but that got shattered because she said she felt uncomfortable catching up as she's grown into a different person now. Yeah, so Naz, the reason why I asked, brother, is that like, so the thing is you have a story based upon what your senses saw, and you created a personality out of this in the story about how your person is. Then inwardly, your inward reality is not under the influence of what you've experienced outside of you. So you can shut your senses off, you can shut your mind off, you can forget that you're a personality and you can become who you actually are, which is the awareness. And then here you can choose to be already where you desire to be. So this is what thing I see from the reason why I asked is I was aware that there was something that you were doing within yourself. I wasn't sure, exactly what you were saying to yourself or what idea you had, but I knew that there wasn't something that was missing from what you suggested, and it's you're in a loving relationship internally now. So in your imagination inwardly, it is the way you want it to be. So we don't imagine based upon appearances, right? And what I mean by imagining, let me clarify, is that SP says they don't love me. I don't think in relation to this. SP appears to not be in love with me. I don't think in relation to this. I don't talk to myself about how things aren't working or about how SP isn't appearing the way that I want them to, how we're not in a loving relationship, how they changed, how they said this, how they said that. This is all imagining based upon my senses. And since I imagined this in the first place, obviously we did this unwittingly, but since I imagined this in the first place, and my imagination creates my reality, if I'm focusing on my outside reality, this is encouraging the same imagining that created it in the first place, which then puts it in a circle. This is why Neville says that if you are a victim to your senses, you will forever be enslaved. So we have to deny our senses, remove our attention inwardly, and in here, I can imagine whatever the fuck I want to. So can you. I can feel them whatever I want to be in here. So can you. And so this is where we live from. And then when I open my eyes, my senses are again probably going to suggest to me what I imagined prior because that's what my senses do. My senses' job are to show me what I did in secret. That's their job. So I can't be mad at it because it's just doing what it was made to do. How else would I know what I'm doing in secret? How else could I see who I'm being? I couldn't. I need the senses. This is why God created this human experience or this 3D avatar is to experience who I'm being. right? That's my theory on it, is that God was just oneness, and so it divided itself into a billion different forms so that it could experience itself. Well, in order to experience itself, it needs to have a in shape person and not a shape person. It needs to have a tall person, a short person, whatever. Right? It has to have something to compare itself to. This allows to experience itself as different forms. So, anyways, just inwardly in your imagination, be in a loving relationship. Disregard appearances. Bullying is my love language. Fair, fair. Anybody happen to be a counselor here in chat, guys? Asking for a friend. I am loved. Yes, you are, Lucas. My SP's name is Tina. Oh, for sure, you're everyone's SP, Lucas. All McLean, universe is mental. Yeah, I love that assumption. I'm just so burnt out, though. Been over a year. I feel that. I feel that. Ryan's in the chat. I believe he was earlier. You can talk to him about that. I mean, I did when I first met with him before we built the school community together. He was on his sixth time of manifesting this SP, and it was over a year since they talked. And then I talked with him, and within like a week and a half or two, he ended up now they're back together. But he relates that. No, you are trying to do that's why maybe you have to be. Amen. Oh, she's back in the room, guys. Should I put the camera on her? Babe. Just kidding. SP randomly texts me, then goes away. This has been happening for over a month. What should I do? I know my self concept good because I've been getting affirmations from a lot of people, but SP. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That like self concept doesn't. I think it's like a secondary thing. I personally don't think that it really matters. I can think that I'm extremely attractive, but this doesn't mean that I think that my SP thinks I'm extremely attractive. It's two complete different things. That's why it's always to me, I go to the end. I love that part where Never talks about is I go to the end. I'm in a loving relationship. Why? Because my self concept will change, my inner conversations will change, my emotions will change, the way I think about SP will change, and my SP will change, which is my desire. So this is why I'm not a big fan of self concept. It doesn't translate to me getting my specific desire. To answer your question, what should I do? The thing that I see here is that you're continuously imagining based upon what your SP is doing. So this whole thing that you have in mind, here's the reality behind it. So I shared many times the realization I came to, and I trust many of you already have or will come to the same realization. You are love, bliss, contentment, fulfillment. You are life. You're the spice of life. You're the flavor of life. You're the magic of life. You experience this while you're in flow. For those of you that maybe haven't done it the way that I've talked about, you've all experienced flow at least in one time or another. Maybe when you saw something absolutely breathtaking, it took your breath away. You were in flow. And so you thought, no, it's this beautiful thing is why I was experiencing so much bliss, but it wasn't. Why you experience so much bliss is because your mind stopped, the little I stopped, the continuous talking stopped, and you became who you were temporarily, which was that bliss. How do I know? Because I experienced that bliss from having a conversation with you guys. I experienced that bliss before I could only experience when I snowboarded. I thought, I love snowboarding. It's the most wonderful activity on the planet. And that's what causes me so much bliss. Again, thinking it was the thing, just like I did with SP and money and everything else. But it wasn't. It was my state of being while doing the activity that was the bliss. It was who I was being while doing the activity that made it so lovely. It was who I was being while doing the activity that made it incredible. And I experienced that same thing while I'm having a conversation as I do when I'm snowboarding, as when I'm conversating with my wife, as when I'm going for a walk. This is the whole point behind this. It's who you're being that is valuable, not the activity, the person, the thing. You are the spice of life. So you'll notice then that every activity you do is lovely. Why? Because it's who you are. Every experience that you observe is bliss. Why? Because it's who you are. And then you get symbols of this. Money flows in your life, different things flow in your life, but it's just an add on. JT, as sure as I'm seeing and hearing coincidence all the time, I'm trying to live in the end as much as possible. Amen, Ali. Maybe I need a break right now and get back into it with a fresh mental. Could I move on though and still manifest it? It feels like more I think about it, the more obsessed I get. Tired of that. Thank you for your help. Yeah, Naz, I would just check my other videos on Flow, brother. That's what I would suggest to you. Your recipe will flow back to you. I'm telling you, dude. In my school community, I've seen it a bunch. My coaching, I've got messages all the time from people that practice it. They get success in a very quick amount of time after talking to their SP for a year or two, crazy circumstances, etc. It just doesn't matter because once you release the condition from your mind, what you love flows to you. When you say to release my beliefs, how do I do that when that's what he shows me? Well, he's showing you because that's your beliefs, Bonnie. So you're getting the way that you're currently seeing this is that this person's shown up this way, and so that's why my beliefs are the way that they are, but it's backwards because um, first you imagine something or you assume something to be true, and then it reflects to you, right? And the other thing about it too is as I just talked about, is that when you're in flow, your love, peace, bliss, happiness, fulfillment, that's all you can see. If you're experiencing anything other than that, where is it happening? The whole entire world happens within your mind. So where is the unlovely thinking happening? Where is the judging based upon appearances happening? Where is the imagining about what is happening outside of you happening? In your mind. Where the beliefs originate, where the beliefs occurred. Now, you may have not consciously suggested to yourself, but I can guarantee you that it is a subconscious belief, right? This is why creation is such a beautiful thing, is because it shows me what I'm doing within myself. So you no longer identify with it. You no longer identify judging based upon appearances. How would you go about manifesting SP who's engaged to that therapy and who's dated a lot since you've separated and forgive that? It's causing resistance. Jung Shuki Ku. June, this is all a story, although it's a story that's very long and has a lot of experiences. That's part of an identity. You are not the thoughts. You're not the identity. You're the awareness. So you want to release this from consciousness. And all releasing means is that when a thought comes up, you no longer identify with it. You no longer think in relation to it, and your mind will be purified. I would watch like the collaboration I just did with Ryan. Ryan, are you still in here, bro? He said he was gonna come hang out, but he's a silly goose. But I watched a collaboration I have with Ryan. He talks about how he did. Yeah, he said he's still here. Yeah, Brian's in the chat if you want to ask him. He's manifested his SP 6 times, 5 or 6 times, and his SP is kind of like a celebrity. He has like 2 million followers on TikTok and all this other stuff, and gets hit up by celebrities and shit. They've separated 5 or 6 times, gotten back together, and there was 3Ps involved. There was distance involved. There was time involved. There was parents involved. There was everything you can think of. The reasons why you can't be the way you want to be. Ryan went through it, which is proof in the pudding that circumstances don't matter. You just have to release the circumstance from your mind, and then the circumstance will leave. Fit time getting her back in 18 months since we split up. Currently, our longest run going. We were even having a baby until she lost it last month. But all part of the perfect unfold. Amen. Just so pissed at the 3D at times. Yeah, the thing is though, Chris, is the 3D is you, my friend. So any interpretations you're having of 3D is the problem, not the 3D, because you're the cause, right? So to imply that the 3D is doing something to you, which would make you a victim, and victims can't change your life. Victims aren't creators. So we know based upon experience that we assume something or we imagine something, and then appearances reflect this. We may forget when we affirmed it or we imagined it, but undoubtedly, I can guarantee you, because I've observed it so many times in my life, I am the cause. I first planted the evil. I first entertained some unideal thought that turned into a story about what must be happening that then created an experience for me. I've never once been a victim of my reality. I've had the perspective that I am, but when I look back, I've never been. I never have been. I've always imagined everything. All of my pain, all of my hurt and disappointments, I created it all. And also, I've created all my blessings. So the thing is then is that it's up to me to discipline my mind. And that's the nice thing about me screwing myself so many times and causing myself so much suffering. It caused me to go within and see, what am I doing within myself? What the fuck am I doing? There can't be a God that's doing this to me, because if so, it sure as shit doesn't love me. And then I started going, okay, well, let me take a look. What's happening within me? And I started being aware of what I'm saying to myself. Holy shit, I'm having catastrophe thinking all the time. That's why my life is in a catastrophe. I start changing this a little bit, and all of a sudden my life starts getting a little bit better. Huh. Interesting. The moment that I decide to change my mind about things, my outside reality starts changing. Okay, I do it a little bit more. In this area, I trust a little bit more. I trust in a little bit more. It starts getting better, starts getting better. There has to be a coincidence here. Well, what's in common with me creating shit that sucked, or me experiencing shit that sucked, and me experiencing shit that's cool? I changed my mind. My circumstances when I started were filled with shit. I changed my mind first. I stopped identifying to the things outside. I stopped imagining that my life was problematic. I stopped imagining that things sucked. I stopped imagining this and that things were against me and this. And then my life started appearing as more ideal. Why? Because of my state of being changed as a result of not identifying with that shit. And then my appearance has changed. Now, my appearances are lovely the vast majority of the time. I will have days. I have like a day or two where I'll sit in some shitty thinking, or some old man thinking will come up. And it's funny. I will observe my appearances changing back to fuckery temporarily for a day or two. It's funny. My state of being is the most important thing. It's the most important thing in your life. Not what I tell myself, not what affirmations I say to myself, my state of being. Because a sentence is just a sentence. Who I'm being is what manifests. It's the same for you. I guarantee it. I trust many of you have done affirmations. I saw somebody, I referenced this because it's just insane. 900,000 affirmations and didn't manifest the recipe. Proof in the pudding that affirmations don't manifest. It's who I'm being, right? The people that succeed, they're changing who they're being through affirming. So it's a technique, it's a permission slip to change your state of being. So uh it's not directly affirmations. You can do the same thing with scripting. You can do the same thing with what the feeling would be like, etc. You're changing your state of being. When it's who we are being, what if we feel like we are just saying it, Joseph? Would it matter, or as long as we keep saying it's who we are, what we will manifest? Mystical, I trust what I just said answered a lot of that. But what I would share is that it's like the analogy I shared earlier, where you're a frog, which represents your desire, but you're identifying in mind as though you're a palm tree, and then you're affirming that you want to be a frog when you actually are a frog. So like that's exactly the same thing with your desire. You have what you desire, you are who you desire to be, but in mind you're identifying with being something else, and then you're affirming to yourself that you are what you desire to be. Well, what happens if you just release the identification that you aren't already yet? Then you'd be who you desire to be. This is why I always say the most important thing fundamentally is for you to not imagine to the contrary desire. That's it. When you don't imagine to the contrary desire, what happens? You recognize that you are who you desire to be. Your thinking automatically is in alignment with that, right? When the frog stops identifying as a palm tree, it won't stand still anymore. It'll start going eating fucking crickets and shit and jumping on lily pads because it's a frog. It's the same thing for you. When you stop identifying as something different than who you desire to be, you'll automatically accept that you are the way that you desire to be. It's automatic. You don't need to do anything for it. I noticed something. It's awareness. So, what are you aware of? When you're ready for your own comments, you can tell what you're aware of. Who decides that? Someone failed their SP is XYZ, etc. It's all you. Yep. It's all just mind activity. Uh, When I imagine when I don't want to experience, I only need to be aware of that. I don't prefer it, and I bring myself back to the present. Do we need to imagine the opposite, or just leave it alone? Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. And Squirrel, I trust that analogy just answered the question too. I love that. I'm gonna make a video on it because it's just so crystal clear of like the truth. It's just such a beautiful analogy that came to me while I was in flow. Is like you literally are it. We just have to let go of the identity or stop imagining to the contrary. That's it. Of course, I'm here. I appreciate that. He's lurking. I like the idea of parallel realities because it implies that nothing is wrong right now and nothing is impossible. There's a reality where it's always loving, you know? Yep. On my mama. Any particular video you'd point to me that would help me? Part of me is considering moving on now. I don't want to before this. Now is how I would just listen to my lives, brother. Because the thing is like as you purify your mind more and more and just be consciousness, which is who you are, clarity sets in, right? Like I was listening to Joseph Rodriguez for probably about 5 or 6 years. Joseph Rodriguez, I listened to Eckhart Tolle, I listened to Neville Goddard, and they kept saying, "You're already it." And it's like, dude, how the fuck does that make sense? How does that make sense? And then I would temporarily go into the state where I recognized I was it. It was very short-lived oftentimes because then my mind would come in and say, "Well, I don't see it," or "I need to do something," or "How do I do this?" or "I need to work for it." And then I would again go into prayer and feel myself into being it or recognize that I was it. And then I'd be in the state again where it would free me from the obsession or needing to look for proof and validation or wanting it and all these different things. And I would just fluctuate. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. It didn't make any sense to me. Sometimes I was in the state, sometimes I wasn't in the state. I was all over the place. I had so many emotions. My thoughts were telling me stuff. There was just so much confusion. And I look back at Joseph Rodriguez's video 6 years ago. He was saying the same fucking thing that I'm saying now. I just couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it. Why? Because I had so many different filters that I'm perceiving what's being said through. I have a different perspective, which is a beautiful thing because it's why Eckhart Tolle has a following and Neville Goddard has a following and I have a following and Joseph Rodriguez has a following. It's because certain different words that the person's use their personality to suggest something makes sense to a certain amount of people. To certain people, the signposts I use make sense to them and their life gets better. Other people, Eckhart Tolle signposts, words relate to them more specific in a way that they practice what it is that he found, which is just being as you are. And then that helps them, et cetera, et cetera. So, but it's just continuously, as often as you can, being in flow, being present, being consciousness, whatever you want to call it, because then clarity flows to you. Confusion leaves you. You recognize that you are it and you've always been it. You just couldn't recognize it because your mind kept telling you that you weren't it or you needed to do something. It's like the analogy I use of the pool, right? This is another beautiful analogy. Your desire or you being the way you desire to be is the equivalent of a pool. Okay, it's a crystal clear pool. You are everything, you have everything, etc. And then the mind activity is equivalent to manure or shit on top of the pool. And so, if you were to just release the top layer of shit, which is the manure on the top of the pool, you'd recognize that you are the pool, that you are what you desire to be, that you have what you desire to be. But instead, what happens is that as we keep trying to clean up the pool or purging ourselves of untrue beliefs and things, we're adding more manure to the top of the pool. So we can't see that we are it because what's in the way of the crystal clear pool is this shit on top. And that's the thoughts, that's the identity, the things that we're holding on to, the disbeliefs, the I need to do this, I don't have it, the imagining to the contrary. Once you remove this, what you're left with is that you are it, just like the Buddha said. People ask him all the time, how do we become enlightened? You are enlightened now. Same exact idea as Neville saying, how do I become this thing? You are who it is that you desire to be. The only reason why you don't see it is the manure shit on top of the pool. The reasoning, the overthinking, that I need to do it, that I don't have it, the judging based upon appearances. That's the manure. That's what we need to release. And then what are you left with? Being the pull, being your desire, being the fulfillment, being what you desire to be, recognizing it. What Joseph said, you experience you always. If SP said they didn't miss you or don't love you, which I heard previously, you were experiencing the version of your SP who isn't missed or loved by your SP. Yep. On God. We create or hurt, that's true. But the feeling can still be intense even if your own creation. Yeah, I agree. I love Neville made a one of his posts. He said, you come to find out that all the hurt, all the drama was caused by you. It's true. Oh, I know it's all me. That's what pisses me off. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just love yourself, bro, right? And don't give meaning to it. It's just like if you don't prefer something, then just release. Just release and consciously go, hey, I don't want that to be true anymore. I don't want to experience it anymore. Not out of force, not out of, oh no, I can't handle this again. It's just out of a decision because you are you're the fucking creator of everything, dude. So it's like fearing something or resisting something gives life to it. Simply choosing for it to not be that way anymore is just your it is your birthright to be as you desire to be. Thank you, everybody that's loved the stream, like the stream. Appreciate y'all. So all you need to do is switch states and choose experience a version of you who is loved and adored by SP. That's why who you are being is so crucial. They can and will shift into who you're being. That's facts. I want to pin that message. Can I pin this message? Yep. My beloved bro, the fuck do I do? My SP broke up with me. We had a lot of arguments the last days because I got triggered by 3D, but she wants to still have contact as friends. Corrupt. I would join school, brother. Join the school community. If you join up for the year, you get my manifesting recipe from breakup to maintaining your relationship as free when you sign up for the yearly thing, and also you have 3 calls a week with us. Hundreds of members now, over 500 something members that are manifesting their recipe. I would definitely recommend checking that out. And then also what we talk about in here, be in flow, bro. Be in flow. Do not judge based upon appearances. I know it's challenging, especially since your SP's all in your face and there's all these things coming up. Probably you're having emotions come up as a result of the nervous system of judging based upon appearances. Now is the time to change your mind, right? Because what I notice is, and Neville talks about this, a thing called momentum, is once you start imagining something unideal, you'll notice that you'll feel pulled to continue to imagine that way. And then appearances will mirror it, and then it kind of steamrolls. So stop while you can, become the awareness, relax. It's resettable. It's all ideal. Just remove your attention from it appearing a particular way, which is easiest done by being as you are, being in flow. And then everything will lovingly rearrange itself for you. Imagination comes from programming. It's automatic. We can only change the focus of mind falls. We're not thinker, we are focus. Yep. By the way, I figured so I can add some value to. I'm gonna put the school community in the chat there so you can join if you like to. Get my book and you get my course that I made. My course is fire, by the way. How do I get her back as a girlfriend? Yeah, what I said earlier, corrupt. How do I make that shift at reality by Zen? Well, that made a lot of sense. He's fire. A frog being a pine tree. Ribbit. Been reading Neville for a while and watching your videos, not trying to be non-believer, but my question is this: do I have to take inspired action to get my SP? Get them to text first. James, no, you don't have to do anything, brother, because you are it, right? This may manifest as you may desire, you may feel like taking action, you may feel like not taking action. The thing I can tell you that if it's planned, out of manipulation, force, control, fear of losing them, wanting a particular outcome, it's not inspired action. I can tell you that because I'll take quote unquote a lot of inspired action, although I wouldn't classify that as the time. It's not like I'm going, oh shit, this is inspired. Let's go do this. Um, I just do something that I feel like doing, or I don't do something that I feel like doing, or I say something that I feel like saying, or I don't say something that I don't feel like saying. It's not controlled. It's automatic. Just like jumping on YouTube, I was just automatic or answering your questions. It's automatic. There's no intention behind it. There's no I hope you like me or I hope I get this particular outcome. It's just being as I am. I'm saying what it is that I feel like saying. It's just a part of it. You just do it. Remember you saying that what clicked for you was changing who you're being. How did you make peace with the guilt and the feeling that you ruined everything during no contact? By releasing it, brother. It only exists in your mind. For the sake of repetition, your only job is not imagine to the contrary of your desire. You are who it is that you desire to be. The only reason why you don't see it is your refusal to believe it. Let go of the mind activity, the story of the old man. That's the only reason why you don't see it. Let it go and everything will rearrange. Bound here in your own state of conscious always. Not the frog, Ryan. Hit the like button. Thank you, Squirrel. I love Squirrel. Can I give Squirrel a, let's see if I can give Squirrel a heart. Shit, I can't. All I can do is put you in timeout, Squirrel. I need to be able to give you like a heart or something or like a. All right, I'm gonna make you a moderator, bro. Not that actually. Here's the thing too for I'm gonna make you a moderator, and I gotta make Squirrel a moderator. Squirrel or Mystical. Mystical's always in my shit, like always. Mystical's one of the loyal ones. JT's been in here a shit ton. Ryan's obviously been in here a shit ton, and Squirrel too. I can only make one. Oh no, I can. Okay. Hello from AZ. Oh, you're an AZ too, Mayor? That's crazy. Me too. Me too. It's hot as fuck. 17-second method. Abraham Hicks building momentum. Inspired action is action you take without any relation to the outcome. Yep. So if I want something, I have to fear it. Thanks so much. So I'm going to fear to be with SP. Well, I guess technically you could do it that way if you wanted to, yeah. But I don't think that's actually going to be genuine. Like that's the whole thing about it is like who you're being is a genuine thing. It's not manipulation. It's not trying to convince yourself to be somewhere else. It's like when you're in flow, you're just being in a loving relationship because that's who you're being. It's authentic. It's not a force. It's not a convince myself. It's not an affirm. It's a recognition that I am it, and then you just perceive your world from there. All my energy and attention into it in order to succeed and not self-sabotage. At times it feels like all this is just coping instead of accepting the truth and moving on. I'm sticking of the identity I'm rooted in feels like I'm only in end state and glimpses and I have to put, yeah. Yeah, dude, James, it's when you get into this, like it does seem like it's hard, bro. It seems like it's really, really hard. And it seems like it's confusing. And sometimes the outside reality seems like it's way more real and that our imagination is a dream or it's just it's a delusion. But I found that for me, it was just more of untrue thinking that I identified with when I was growing up. And as I was purging, it was confusing, and I wasn't sure if I was doing it right, and it didn't make sense. But now that I remain in flow, it's so blatantly obvious to me that the inner world is real and that the outer world is just a reflection. It's literally a playground. It's a figmentation of my imagination. and it seems real because I have senses and people play parts and I see things happen, and I drink this energy drink and it's full when I start, and then when it's done it's empty, and so it cause and effect and all these other cool things that make it appear as though it's so real. But I just know from fuck, I don't even know, tens of thousands, 50s of thousands of testing my imagination that this is nothing more than a reflection of me, undoubtedly. And so whenever my mind goes to this is more real than my imagination, I it's how I used to be, where I used to think that the outside world was more real than my imagination. I just know that that's a delusional thought to think that. And so it's just about being persistent, continuously doing it and practicing it and putting it to the test. And then you're going to realize too, as I did, you will awaken and realize that your reality is just a game. It's just a fun little game. It has no reflection on who you are, although it does reflect who you're being, but it's not part of your identity, right? It's an experience. Um, you experience who you're being. It's just the thing with the ego is the ego likes to convert that into it's your personality, it's your identity, and create a story out of it. But really, you're just awareness experiencing yourself in different states. That's all it is. Different states of being. How do you release and not waver? I find myself trying to let go and feel bliss, but then I waver. Uh, just going right back into bliss, brother. Who's saying that you wavered? It's all happening in your mind. Who's telling you wavered? That's you're imagining that you wavered. Just go back into to being it. As Neville says, do not reinfect your or do not think on the past mistakes, because to do so is to reinfect yourself on the past mistakes of yourself or others. For to do so is to reinfect yourself, right? So just let it go. Go right back into it. Angel, what up, Angel? I'm in the most loving relationship with my Elena, but I miss her kisses. Dude, I feel that, bro. My wifey's kisses are chef's kisses. I love them. It's funny because like I'm very independent, like to do shit, and I'm like spontaneous and just say random ass stuff, and then I'll lay on my wife, and I'm a baby. I can't help it. Can't help it. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I found your channel around the time you started. I think actually took a while to meet properly. Funny how it works. Love. Used to watch your little walkie in the park videos. Okay, convince me. Here. Get some moderator in. JT, don't let the power get to your head though. Okay. You're a powerful creator, but only in your reality. Over here, my reality. I'm here. I got the bell on your channel and still don't get notified you were live. I don't get that, bro. I can't tell you how many people have told me that. But just know that I believe it's every Monday and Friday. I'm on live. Usually I get on at 11 a.m. Arizona time. I didn't today because I had to go pick up my son, and I played some video games. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. And then on Fridays, I usually get on around 5 p.m. Arizona time. If you want to catch Ryan and I on TikTok, we're on TikTok 12:30 on Ryan. What day are we on TikTok? We do Wednesday, and I believe what the fuck is today? Say Monday or Sunday? I don't know. I don't know. We go on TikTok 2 days a week too. Inspired action sounds like there's only one right action. My hot take: everything is inspired action. Everything is the right move when you're being the version. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? Is like, I mean, who implies that the action she took isn't ideal? Only you can in mind. Even if your little eye suggests to you that like you were being an asshole or you didn't do it right, it can only be that way if you identify with it in mind. Otherwise, you just suggest like you just go, hey, it's in harmony with the vision, or it's facts. It's so true. By the way, JT, I miss my little walks in the park. I loved being out in nature. I still love being out in nature. We're going on a trip in 2 weeks. We're going up north, and my father-in-law's going through some shit. So we're gonna go do some camping. Last time I was there, I pulled a 200-pound branch on my head. I manifested not dying, by the way. It was crazy. My wife was tripping. I like to climb trees. I've been climbing trees since I was like 6. And then we needed some firewood. So I'm like, we don't have an axe, right? Because I don't ever plan. I'm one of those people where I'm like, I wake up in the morning, we're going camping today. And we're gonna get a tent and we're gonna figure shit out. That's like MacGyver's my favorite thing. I like going out there and figuring it out. Okay, so we go camping. We're at some random ass place. I don't know. We had to drive on the sketchy thing where it was like this little tiny dirt road that went like a mile off the main road, and it was like over a 400-foot cliff, and we're driving over there. All right. So it's just my wife and I are there. We're setting up camp. We have the pups there. Her brothers are coming later. I'm trying to get firewood because I need to build a fire, right? This is the thing I need to figure out. We didn't have a lighter. I had like this little the thing. I go to grab this branch. Well, the branch that I saw was maybe like, I don't know, 50 pounds, like 2 or 3 feet wide. I go and I jump on it. Well, it was attached to another big log that was probably like 150 pounds. It was fucking huge. I jumped on that and it pulled the whole entire branch down and it landed on the back of my head. And like I've seen stars and like um I didn't realize this from my point of view. I was fine, but my wife said it took me like 30 seconds to respond to her answers. And I just imagined myself waking up in the morning saying, "Oh, I feel really good." That's all I did. And she was freaking me out too. Like but like if I would have judged based upon appearances, I might have died maybe, I don't know. But she was like worried and like, "Oh my god, I got to take you to the hospital and we have to go." And I'm like, "Babe, I'm good." And I ended up being good. And I survived. I had a bump on my head that felt like jello for like probably like 3 weeks though. Just you know, $1 million, 1 billion at least. 1 billion. 333. It's a magic number. That means abundance. That means that you are who you desire to be. Everyone accept that. Lucas, level it's priceless. Can't put the price on all of that. Angel Love King. The emojis. Me too. I love how affectionate we are. We've gotten kicked out of places for forehead kisses and me squeezing her feet under the table, but we don't care. Don't even phase us. Yeah, forehead kisses are they're one of the finer things in life. I'm not gonna lie. How is it going with the Bible? Laugh massive Joseph, you're too funny. I can't. Do you think psychology in general is getting caught up in the world of effects when it's used in our journey as the creator? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same with the anxious attachment and whatever. Like I used to observe my wife as being that way. There's a couple of things to this. Number one, I realized reflecting back, I actually was the avoidant attachment. Um, when I was perceiving her as being distant, in fact, what was happening is within me, I was being distant. And then I was trying to go outside and get her to bring closer and etcetera because I felt distant. So I was the avoidant. I think I actually had the quote unquote avoidant and the anxious because sometimes I wanted to be really, really, really close to her. Other times I was scared to be close to her, but I wanted to be closer. It was very confusing. I'm not even going to hold you. It was very confusing. But I let go of both those things. And now I don't observe myself being anxious or avoidant. And I don't observe her being anxious or avoidant. I observe her being ideal because the only way I could ever observe her as being anxious or avoidant is if I identify with the little I in mind, suggesting based upon what it's seeing. If I don't identify with that, then my wife ends up lovingly being in harmony with me, being the way that I love, being the way that she appears to love. This is why I always say all you need to do is not imagine to the contrary, and everything you love will flow to you. It's not a cool little slogan. Although it should be a slogan on a shirt, it is not a slogan. It's the truth. Do you think Wednesday? Okay, Wednesday and Sunday. Wait, did we fucking miss it yesterday? Shit. Bro, we dropped the ball. Guys, if we don't jump on, I need you to message us and I need you to like, I don't know. I don't know what else you could do. Don't mean to bombard you last. I'm a bit skeptical because in the past I assumed a lot of bad stuff and it worked out fine. And when I assumed good stuff and had genuine faith, it turned out shit. Yeah, James, the thing is like, the thing is ultimately is it's the equivalent of somebody who affirms 900,000 times that they're in a loving relationship with their SP, and then they're not in a loving relationship with their SP. What their state of being is not dictated by the sentences they tell themselves. And this is what I was conversating about earlier. Your state of being is what manifests, not what sentences you keep repeating to yourself. So if your state of being changes the result of accepting the affirmation because you're looking at the affirmation as something that is now true, and you're recognizing rather than trying to create, it's a nuance, but it makes all the difference, then it will change your state of being, which will then affect what it is that you experience. If you are affirming something in the hopes of trying to convince yourself, trying to make it so, trying to force it to be so, this is not changing your state of being, because when you are being the way you desire to be, it is that way. And you don't need to tell yourself sentences for it to be that way, because you know by the state you're in. So what's your state? I guarantee this is one of the things where it's like you're only going to know by doing it. You're only going to know by being in flow. Clarity comes from being you, right? Like that's my whole entire thing. It's not necessarily affirm this way, be this way, imagine this way. It is be the awareness that you are, because this is fundamentally the same for everybody. What can change is what signposts I use, what words I use to explain something to you. Whether you choose to do law of attraction and emotions, whether you choose to believe in a universe, whether you choose to believe in astrology, whatever it is, this is up for the meaning that the individual gives it. This is subjective. For some, they could say that astrology helps them manifest. That's going to be true for them. For some, they're going to say that having a tarot reader is going to be very, very helpful for them. That's going to be subjective. But what is not subjective and is always true is that you are, I am. That's it. That's the only fundamental truth. Everything else is a technique. Everything else is a permission slip. Everything else is your preference and the meaning that you decide to give it. There is no definite. There's only a definite for you. So you could suggest that for you it appears this way, and I couldn't suggest otherwise, because for you would be correct, because that has been your experience and you create your experiences. For me, I could suggest one thing because it's how it's been for me, and maybe it's not true for you. But what is true is that if you end up becoming the awareness or the void or whatever it is, which is why every religion and Dr. Joe Dispenza, Neville, and everybody talks about it, because it's the fundamental key, well, then clarity will flow to you. Your desires will flow to you. Confusion will leave you. You'll recognize you're who you desire to be. It's just about being persistent. It's decided its mind will find its way to me. How do your dreams play a part in all this? Yeah, Aaron, actually, I have a video on this of what to make of dreams, but fundamentally, to simplify it, if you have an unideal dream, look at it as though it's your subconscious purging old things you used to believe to be true, and it's accepting that you're in a loving relationship now. If it's an ideal dream, the desire is yours. At Joseph, mind blown with a tree. Yeah, great. I'm in a rabbit hole with the Bible. Do they? Sometimes dogs are brown. I noticed that. What are your thoughts on seeing other people while manifesting? This is, again, preference. My personal preference, Ryan was in agreement with this, is that the action of being with somebody else while affirming that you're in a loving relationship can be confusing. And because a lot of the times your actions are going to align with your state of being. If you're being in a loving relationship, your actions usually aren't going to appear that way. Again, this isn't a fundamental truth, as there are people that have dated other people while manifesting an SP. I just find that for most, it ends up causing more problems than it does being helpful. Now, that reminds me, I got Bell, Bell's palsy, and I told myself it was nothing. I healed fully in a week. Yep. That's probably not a good idea if you really love this person. Want to? Yep. If your SP seems to be distancing themselves, blowing you off politely, do you persist in your assumption? At this point, I feel like I'm being a nuisance, disrespecting myself in the back of my mind. Who is the self that you're referring to? I guess is a question that I ask yourself, James. Who is the self? Because if it's the mind-made self, it's not real. Who you are is beyond this world. It's never affected. It's not affected by your emotions. It's not affected by your thoughts. It's not affected by experiences. It cannot die. It's unchanged by anything. It is infinite. It is all things. It's all power. So who is it then that's affected? It's the little I. So if you want to, you can choose to go forward if that's what you prefer, or you can see that it's just simply the little I um, creating the story of based upon the old story, because this is all judging based upon appearances, right? Because if you're in a loving relationship inwardly, then the outside doesn't make a difference. I mean, this is the case, right? Because everybody who manifests their SP, when they manifest their SP and went into the state of being in a loving relationship, when they did that, the 3D was not any different at that time. It's not like you go into the state of being and it's like, poof, up, there they go. Like Amazon Prime, you don't get it the next morning, right? Sometimes it's a day, sometimes a couple days, sometimes a week, etc. So, but the person moved in the state of being, which tells you that your state of being is not dictated by your outside experiences. And in fact, if you do want to manifest something that aren't in your outward experiences right now, you must prioritize your state of being solely. Let that one sink in. If you want your appearances to be different, focus on your state of being. Your state of being is an inward thing, has nothing to do with appearances, has nothing to do with SP said or didn't say. You think we could manifest to get insane amounts of testosterone with any injection? Yeah, yeah. Savannah would definitely say so. That wasn't my story, dude. I got jacked as fuck taking. I took a lot of TRT. I was on a shit ton. I was on Rad 140. I was on CJC and Ipamorelin. And I went to the gym twice a day. I looked like a Greek god, though. I was like 215 and like 8% body fat, maybe 7%. It's really hard to maintain that, though. But you definitely can, 100%. Aren't we manipulating them a bit while manifesting? No, James. They're the way that you imagine them to be. They're a figmentation of your imagination. So do you think it really doesn't matter if it becomes a belief, Joseph, or just going back to the end when we think of it as enough to work every time? Yeah, mystical. You just every time that your mind tells you you're not it, you need to do something. Thank you that I am that way now. Thank you that I have this thing now. Just a simple acknowledgement, simple realization that you are it. Been over a year though. I love her, but how long do I stay stuck in one place? I know it's not the best mental state I'm in right now, but she basically told me to move on. I know that's the 3D, but still. Yeah, the way that I suggested, Nas, is that you have to deny the appearances of your senses and live from your inner world. Just join the school. I am ready. Tired of my own crap. Nice, Brian. Glad to hear you. Happy there, brother. We're gonna have a call in. Fuck, what day is our call? I think our call is the same day as our school. So we have a call tomorrow for all the members. So it's usually a very big meeting. And then we have our paid members that are on Sunday and Wednesday. So we'll have another call Wednesday and Sunday where we can jump in. But dude, you're gonna. I observe so many people transforming so much in such a short amount of time. I'm glad to have you, brother. Given the choice between letting go and stopping, trying to manifest us be back, body frame, what would you choose? I know myself as source and live at the end for 1 year. Tina, I would recognize that there's nothing that you can do. This is a realization that I came to. when I was manifesting my wife, both times, is I would imagine or feel like I'm in a loving relationship and et cetera, and I just kept coming back to this truth. There is nothing I can do. I'm in a loving relationship. What could I do? What could I do? That's a realization I came to both times. So what is that other than recognizing that you are it? So how could you do anything if you are it? What could you add on to it if you are it? How could you work for it if you are it? I'm going to answer two more and then I'm going to skedaddle on out of here, guys. I'm not a follower of the Bible, but rather the opposite, the left hand path. Would you say this is an issue from manifestations? I don't know what the left hand path means, Sapadi. Got to be honest with you. But I will tell you that if you don't look at your imagination as the sole cause, that um, it will create you believing in secondary powers, which will damper your ability to manifest what you love. I would read Neville's YouTube lecture or video on Pearl of Great Price. It's my favorite one by him, and he says you must give up belief in any outside power, any and all, any other power other than your imagination being the source of everything that you experience. So this means SP, this means a person, this means a business, this means a country, this means a world. We must give up belief in any outside power. Because if we go, oh no, this is going to happen to me, where did the power originate from? By me imagining via talking to myself that this outside thing in some way, shape, or form can affect me. That is a secondary cause that I gave power to by the primary cause, i.e., my imagination thinking this thing can oppose me, thinking this thing can hurt me. That's what gave that thing the ability to appear as though it's opposing me. But you are the power. I had one more I was going to answer, but unconditional love is way better than focus on some person. Get a pet. Really, every person becomes a better reflection of your being. Peace. Peace is the goal. Amen. Yep. Live bet. What up, Fig? Guys, I love you. Thanks for hanging out with me for an hour and 20 minutes. I will catch you guys again on Friday evening. Take care. Have a good week.